Well, hello. This is day 7 of COVID, and we needed to get out of the house, so we're on our bikes and we are just going for a little ride today. Normally I'd have the electricity on this bike set low, more pedal power, but today I've got the electricity settings right up high, so I'm hardly doing any work at all. And it's just so nice to come out and get some fresh air. Many of you will notice that it's autumn here where I live. It is one of the most beautiful seasons, even though we've had such a wet summer. It's got that real autumn feel to it, and there's a softness about the sunlight as it speaks of the coming winter months. Families are taking the opportunity to come out while the weather is with us, before we move into that more hibernation type season of winter. Of course, in the northern hemisphere you are coming into your summer. So an update on COVID for me. It did go to my chest, and I've been using a fairly substantial humidifier at night with some essential oils in it, and that's been really helpful. Many of you would remember this hill, or many of you would remember this pathway and this hill that we're about to go down, which I will do today with my brake on. I've noticed with COVID there a little bit of brain fog, lots of fatigue, a lot of fatigue, and some breathlessness have been the main symptoms for me, along with a bit of a fever. But they are getting better and it's all doable. And I also want to say that now I've been through what has been an unknown, that is getting COVID. You do notice the language that is used around COVID. So within, just for example, within the first 28 days, you can get reinfected. That's on our government health site. And you see health workers saying, well, you can get reinfected, but what they neglected to say along with that sentence is it's a very low risk. So I just want to say we could manage our language a little bit better around COVID. So what are we doing today? We're heading to the pioneer cemeteries where we have I've packed some chrysanthemum tea, which boosts the immune system. And you can see someone training their trotter. How lovely. So we're heading for the pioneer cemetery so that we can... Oh, and the phone rings. It's all happening. All right, let's keep going. I'll let that phone go. So yes, I've packed some chrysanthemum tea and we'll have that at the Pioneer Cemetery. I have my sister along for the ride. She's on another e-bike, electric bike, and we're really enjoying just getting out and about after hunkering down with COVID and getting through it, I think, reasonably well. We're coming up to a fairly historical viaduct here. I love that the butterflies are active, sometimes riding alongside me. Occasionally I'll get birds. Oh, there's another one. Birds flying alongside me. And I think, you know, this is good for while people say, oh, maybe you should be resting, this is really good for the soul, this being out amongst it and immersed in nature. Lifts the spirits, and that's good for healing as well. Thank you again for all your lovely comments, healing vibes, healing intentions, donations, and generally support of my channel. Whenever I want to shift into manifestation energy, I simply go to my comments section and it lifts me straight away into gratitude. So here's our destination, the old Pioneer Cemetery. There's a tree there with a bench. We're going to sit down and have our cup of tea. Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. It's day 7 of COVID, as I outlined on our way here. I have my sister with me. We felt like we needed to get out of the house, get some fresh air. So we cranked up our e-bikes to full settings and we didn't work hard at all. And we've ridden here to the Pioneer Cemetery. Some of you may remember that I did a video on this a couple of months ago. So it's been a really lovely ride. We're having our tea now and I thought I'd just break for a few minutes and talk about the upcoming conjunction between Neptune and Jupiter, conjunct in Pisces on the 17th of April. I will look more fully at this via a chart and we'll see where the planets are placed during this very rare conjunction. We haven't had Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in Pisces since 1856. Which is, yeah, so this is like the first time, you know, certainly in generations that we've experienced this. When Jupiter and Neptune have been conjunct in other signs, major developments have occurred. So intuitively, I feel that we are bringing something new into form. Neptune is the planet that is associated with our subconscious. Everything starts in the subconscious and then moves through to the conscious mind. So if you can think of imagination, Neptune, and the conscious mind coming through, what are we dreaming? What are we imagining? Jupiter, of course, is the great benefic, and a tarot card has just flown away. God knows what that was. It would be interesting to pick it up. I think my sister's going to go and get it and we'll see what flew away. Jupiter is expansion, and so if we look at imagination and expansion, what are we bringing into form? My intuition brings me, oh my goodness, thank you to my sister for going and rescuing that card. It's actually the 9 of Cups, which is miracles, wish fulfillment, good things happening. My intuition, and then we have judgment at the base of the pack, which is, of course, things coming to a close. My intuition goes to Eastern Europe. I feel that the invasion of Ukraine was a real tipping point and the ending of a cycle. Many of you have looked at my readings. In the US, it's almost like, you know, we've flirted with the edges of reason and the edges of sanity, and we're pulling back from that now. In France, they are facing an election, a very critical election, not just to the French people, but to Europe and the West as well. As some of you may know, my previous reading indicated that Macron would just scrape through. He and his opponent, Marine Le Pen, the far-right candidate whose last campaign was funded by Vladimir Putin, are into the primary, the runoffs. So Macron at this stage is leading by about 28%, and Le Pen is on about 23%. But it is close between those two. So I'll read on that again in the next few days. So we have that. We have the narrative around Russia's invasion of Ukraine changing now. They're saying they've achieved their military objectives. They are now acknowledging the massive troop losses. A lot of Russia's best and brightest have left the country, about 500,000 before the invasion, and another 300,000 have left Russia since the invasion. So we're getting change in Europe, and particularly Eastern Europe, with new alliances, strong alliances, forming alliances we haven't seen. I think the like of Poland, Poland's help for Ukraine, the smaller countries of Slovenia sending weapons and armoury, Lithuania, all of these Eastern European countries uniting to help Ukraine. So I feel that whether or not NATO gets involved, I think that the parts of Europe is being remade and something new is emerging. So let's have a look at the 17th of April. We'll take a more detailed look, but let's through the tarot cards today in this really old pioneer cemetery, which gives us a window into the past in this area and how that unfolded, some of it quite cruel. Back in convict days, as you know, Australia was a convict settlement. Let's have a look at what we are imagining for our future with the help of Neptune, planet of the imagination, subconscious, what we dream, things coming into form, and Jupiter, the planet of good fortune, of expansion, of luck. Anytime Jupiter's involved, good things occur. So let's have a look. What are we birthing? Interesting, the Nine of Cups flew away. What are we birthing? What are we imagining as we move forward into this conjunction, which becomes even more important at the end of the month when Mars and Venus are joined with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, and the moon as well. All right, what are we imagining? What's coming into form? Yeah, unfortunately, I see that the amount of death in Ukraine has really shaken us. The violence, the war crimes, the genocide has knocked us out of our complacency and apathy as we in some ways feel the trauma of what's happening in Ukraine. And I get the Nine of Swords. There's a lot of anxiety around, and it's that anxiety that draws us toward unity. So that is the signifier card, the anxiety. Notice the wolf at the back of this person is protective. All right, we have the Ace of Pentacles crossing the anxiety. People are worried that their life as they know it is not assured, and so this is a period of great change. We have the Five of Swords. It is significant to what's going on in Ukraine and Eastern Europe at the moment. This is the abuse of power. These are cards that all indicate what is occurring there at this time. The Seven of Swords, taking something that doesn't belong to you. Bombing civilians as a war strategy. We're seeing all of this. We get to decide if we want to have a future where that is allowed. And there has been any number of atrocities in the past, but this one occurring in Europe has mobilised us. The Queen of Wands crowning this reading, fearlessness, time to step forward, have the courage to come forward with the truth and the courage to fight against oppression and to support those that are oppressed. So here we have a new start with the Fool card, taking that leap of faith. Where are we going? We don't really know. Are we going to do anything differently? We probably aren't assured of that yet either. But we know we want stability with the Queen of Pentacles. In the hopes and fears, unity. Do we have it? We hope for it now. We see the strength of unity. Is there enough unity? Or is there that fragmentation that is so obvious in our societies? We have the Six of Wands. We're going to push through. Six of Wands is the victory card. Watch for what occurs. Russia may very well withdraw. It is remobilising to try and take the Donbass region. We have the Hierophant though. We have the government of Ukraine prevailing. And in fact, Western leaders, the EU President, the UK Prime Minister, all visiting Kiev to walk through those streets as a show of support for Ukraine. I see that there is going to be, as the months and years unfold, war crimes commissions, war crimes trials. What the Russian soldiers have done is not easily forgotten or forgiven. I do see ultimately, as usual, I was going to say, as is the case with my other readings, a peace deal being brokered. We have so much help coming from across the world, centred all on this Eastern European area, to somehow provide them with a way to keep their sovereignty. What are we birthing? Well, these cards indicate that we are reviewing everything. Everything is up for review. Why? Because our foundations have been challenged, not just through the invasion of Ukraine, but through the manifestation of COVID, through the actuality of climate emergencies, through the seeing just where our disunity and our polarization has taken us. This is a good card to describe how we're all feeling. It's time for choices. That's what we're manifesting, time for choices. And whether we like to admit it or not, we have actually manifested these situations at our higher selves have done that, to put an end to a cycle and to bring forward something new. So what are we dreaming of? We're dreaming of something new, and with a hope that it is better than the old. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.